Today we're going to be doing a presentation on Human Nature is Evil by Exunzi, and that's by me, Alex Bornelos. The main points are it really just talks about human nature and explains why it's evil and like the different reasons it is evil, and it also compares human nature in contrast with conscious activity. Human nature is evil. He, Exuni believes that human nature is evil and human nature must wait for an example of a teacher before it can become upright and for ritual and rightness before it can become orderly. An example that was used in the article was that human nature is similar to a piece of warped wood, straightening board, steamed and bent into shape before it can become straight. A passage in the article that I enjoyed reading, or that like made me realize, right, or like just pushed me towards his idea of or his way of thinking, was a person who is transformed by instructions of teacher, devotes himself to study, and abides by ritual and rightness may become a noble person, while one who follows his emotions and his nature is content to give free play to his passions and abandon those ritual and rightness is a lesser person. And there's something similar that I will be adding on to this, be going about more onto this while going on later. Emotional nature is another thing he talks about. Is an article in the article, it states that human were to follow their emotional nature, there will be no courtesy in the world. He also goes on to give an example where in the article is, if you were hungry you will eat, although he is hungry, not eat before he knows not to eat before his elders. These acts are opposite of humans' emotions, but they are showing the passing of devotion and principles that come with ritual and rightness. I believe that shows that how we are transformed by the ritual and rightness that we know as humans through ritual and rightness to not eat before his elders. And if we didn't have those ritual and rightness, we would just, how I said, have no courtesy. We just eat everything, like without caring who eats before, who eats, or if there's going to be any leftovers or whatsoever. And then he goes on to explain the differences between human nature and conscious activity. And human nature is something that cannot be learned, which is an example he gives of that is our eyesight, our ears, our thought process, you can be saying. And conscious activity is something that can be learned, and like with devotion and will, that will be able to learn no matter what. Like as long as you devote yourself time and you have that willpower to learn, you will learn. And that will go as a ritual and rightness. That's an example. I believe the author's argument is quite strong. He persuaded me, or he got me believing in his way of thinking and way of viewing human nature. So I believe human nature is evil without the ritual and rightness. If I were to compare this article, I guess, to another passage, I would say it would be on Being Prey by Val Plumwood. This is because in the article she was attacked by a crocodile. And I feel like us as human will be more animal-like, more wild-like, if we didn't have those ritual and rightness. And this has been, which leads to my next one, which leads to my next point, where I believe this is shown, human nature is evil, is shown throughout our modern society, where some resort to crime because they weren't, I wouldn't say they weren't taught, but they don't follow those ritual and rightness as most of us. This could be because of lack of, they resort to crime because of lack of many things. Some may steal groceries and food, and others may be stealing designer brands and cars. I believe this shows that without ritual and rightness, humans are rebellious. And this goes back to the one I said earlier, that a person who is transformed by instructions of a teacher, devotes himself to study, and abides by ritual and rightness, becomes a noble person. While one who follows his nature and emotions is content to give free play to his passion and abandons ritual rightness is a lesser person. I believe that quote applies to that example. Where I stand. As I mentioned earlier, I fully agree with the article that human acts of goodness or their ritual and rightness are form of the conscious activity and not by their human nature. I believe that human nature is evil, and most of us were taught how to be good or follow those ritual rightness and certain standards by either our parents, society, or our teachers. So yeah, that's where I stand, and thank you.